My first myth today actually came from a conversation I had last week, and it revolves around the long-standing story that the great Van Morrison actually at one time recorded a bunch of Nonsense songs just to get out of a record contract. Cutting right to the point, this is completely true, and when you look back at the entire history of music, it's not all that uncommon an occurrence. Back in 1967, Van Morrison was riding high off of the success of the single Brown Eyed Girl, but his Irish label that he was tied to had him under a terrible contract, and he found himself in a massive amount of legal trouble that stopped his career dead in its tracks. Though he had been signed to Warner Brothers Records, he was still legally contracted to record 36 new songs in that year to satisfy the Irish label. And for anyone who's ever tried to write a song, you know that that borders on insane. So after struggling with the issue for a number of weeks, Van Morrison did what a number of artists would later copy: give the record label exactly what he was required to give them. In a single day, he wrote and recorded more than 30 completely nonsensical songs. It covered ideas like worms, pastries, overdue royalty checks, and tons of other completely unmarketable tracks. Obviously, the Irish label never released any of these songs, though a few of them have leaked out over the years, and once this was done, Morrison was freed from his contract. Funny, but absolutely true. Today's second myth came via request, and it's the claim that one of the final songs from the Byrds was actually sung by one of their roadies. Stories of non-band members singing on big tracks circulate big time with a lot of the bands from the 60s and 70s, and in a handful of cases, they're actually true. The legs on this claim come from the fact that the vocals on the song BB Class Road actually sound completely different from any of the other Byrds songs, and in general, the song is pretty distant from anything they'd done in their career. More to the point, co-writing credits on this song go to a man named Stuart Dawson, who was in fact a roadie for the band, and the fact that the song is basically a first-person story of life as a roadie. So there is a lot of truth to support this claim, but it's actually a complete myth. The vocals were delivered by none other than the band's drummer, Gene Parsons. The reason a lot of people thought that this was somebody different from the band is because Gene hadn't sung on many of the band's tracks before this point, and they also altered his vocals on the track so they'd sound even more different. So while a roadie did help in the development of the song BB Class Road, the vocals on the track are someone completely different. Our final myth today also came via request, and it stems off of last week's story about Vince Neil. And it's the claim that the Motley Crue song Kickstart My Heart was actually written after one of the band members was pronounced dead and had to have his heart restarted by an EMT. Let's be honest, we're talking about Motley Crue here, and their level of decadence has become legendary, so you'd probably think that this story is a slam dunk in the true column. Well, it is. It's completely true, and it goes back to a 1987 incident involving bassist Nikki Sixx. At the time, Motley Crue were out on tour with Guns N' Roses, and Nicky's drug abuse was very well known. On the evening in question, he accidentally overdosed, and the EMTs were trying to revive him, but his heart stopped, and he was actually declared legally dead at one point. En route to the hospital, the EMT in question decided to give Nicky an adrenaline shot, but it didn't work. But he decided to give him a second one, and this one did in fact revive Nikki Sixx, and by all popular accounts, saved his life. Just go read the lyrics to the song. The opening verse is very obvious to what this song is all about. And know that yes, it comes from a very real incident involving one of the band members. So those are the myths for this week. Be sure to check back here every Thursday as I delve into some of the coolest stories in music history, and be here every day for all the music news, reviews, and knowledge you'll ever need.